All right. So this morning we're going to talk about another piece of this indicator that we use and that we need to understand. And we are going to talk today about the stars. Okay. We have a couple more days left of this recorded education, and then we're going to get to next week will be just full on how we're using this and executing trades and those types of things. Now, what we're going to do here today is we're going to talk about the stars. Now, this is all in your PDF as well, but we're going to go over it just to, give yourself a better example and talk a little bit about the stars and how we use them. So the first thing we're going to talk about are the yellow stars. Now, these are essentially what we call fractals. Now, this is where we break support and resistance levels, okay? And I was thinking about getting into this when I got here. This bounced off this 238. Would have been nice. But essentially they call them fractals, which means that they are breaking, okay? They are breaking support and resistance levels, okay? That's what these little stars indicate, that there's a break, right? A short flash. You can see a support line there, right? Little support line there that it broke. Back up here, little support line. So that's essentially what these stars are showing you, okay? So stars are showing you when this is creating a little bit of a higher high or a little bit of a lower low, okay? So it's indicating that once these things break, we can, once these things have broken and we see these stars, then we could be looking at a potential reversal, right? So what we'd be looking for, and that's why we use these, is that they can give us an indication for two things. First, how to stay in a trade, okay? And second, how to get out, okay? And when to protect and when to possibly exit a trade, okay? So we have the yellow stars. As you can see, they come up quite a bit more often. And they don't have a lot of strength, okay? So they're going to show you, and as you can see, you get a yellow star here, you're getting maybe a 15 pip kind of pullback, and then it bounces, and then there's another little yellow star. These stars, and how I would use them is if I was in this cell and this little yellow star popped here, probably think it might be okay to hold on to this, because there might be a little bit of a reversal, at least back down to where this thing could potentially be in blue, okay? And that would be a way to keep in a trade, right? This would be, oh, I'm going to sell. I think it's going down. This little yellow star pops. I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's going to get a little bit of a push back down, and then we'll see what it wants to do at the bottom, okay? And that's essentially what it does, right? And obviously this red triangle is on a blue candle, but push back up, little yellow star, right? And then it does come back down and fall back down here. So you would be okay, right, to be in this thing and be like, okay, there's a little yellow star. I can hold this a little bit longer, and it can come back down here. That's the one with the lowest strength, okay? Now we move on to the blue stars. The blue stars, let's just say, the yellow stars are the medium strength. The blue stars are the yellow stars are the low strength, the blue stars are the medium strength, okay? So as you can see, when you get one of these blue stars, it has much more of a reversal level. So you can see from, when this blue star popped here, right? When this blue star popped here, you get a reversal all the way down to here, right? And even here, then you had a little double bottom, but you could see to this support area, right? Reversed off this blue, right? And you actually had a double bottom, and up she went, okay? So you can also see it happen here again, right? Back to these lines. You have a blue star here, and then you can see, it's hard to see on this chart, but there is a little blue star underneath there. Okay, and there's a blue star, as you can see when I clicked on it, it actually popped up. There's a blue star under there too. So there's a reversal there. Okay. Right. And then another blue star comes and reverses with more strength all the way up to there. Right. So you can see that these blue stars can carry more strength. So say you were in this trade, right? You got this blue star here. This one would have been a bit iffy. This is one where you're like, oh man, this thing might have a chance to hit my stop. Right. Then does come fall back. It's only about 15 pips, but then another blue star pops. That's when you're like, okay, well, I'm in this thing. There's a blue star. This should indicate that it wants to head back up, which it does, right? That it bounces off here, heads up 50 pips before you see that other blue star. Right. Okay. And actually, we'll talk a little bit when we get to the next stars. We'll talk a little bit more about where that red star was. Okay. So that blue star is medium. It just carries a little bit more strength, as you can see, right? Blue star back here, 50 pip reversal, then back up, right? So that blue star, which is medium strength, right, carries just a little bit more, right? It's broken a couple of these higher highs. The blue star pops. The reversal or pullback that may come after that star. You'll see there's another blue star hiding in here. Should be at the bottom of that candle, but you can see it that it's right there as well. So this thing actually, reverses back down to another blue star, and then up it goes. Right? Another blue star pops. Bam. Also another way to help you indicate those trend shifts, right? Because that blue star pops a little bit higher than this one, and then it heads up. So it has the blue star has medium strength. Okay. So it's going to have, as you can see, the pullbacks that come off this blue star are much bigger than the ones that come off the yellow stars, right? So the blue stars, we want to pay a little bit more attention to. Yellow stars, if we're in the trade, it can help us, with the movement and what we see and what we could potentially see next and how we hold a trade, etc. Right? So the yellow and blue stars are going to help us, potentially stay in a trade if it wants to stay on trend. Right. If it wants to reverse, that blue star pops, you're like, okay, well, this thing will probably have a little bit of a reversal. And we'll talk a little bit more about these red and green stars and how they move. Okay, so we want to keep an eye on both of those. The yellow stars, not so much, but the blue stars, 100%. Right. These are just the yellow stars are just early indication that this might stay on that same direction. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to answer any questions till we're done our recording, okay? I'm just going to get through the recording and I'll answer all the questions at the end. Okay, so blue stars, bam, much more of a reversal, okay? Now we're going to talk about the ones that are really, really important, okay? That is our green and red stars, okay? These are the most important stars on the chart. These are the ones that indicate the most strength, okay? The most power, the most important stars that we want to see on this chart. And the reason is that when you see these stars, they give you the biggest reversals, right? This is when this chart can really pull back, right? You're talking 50 pips down here, and then you can see right from here, this green star all the way up to this red star right now, right? We're talking 100 and so pips, right? So these are much more important to pay attention to. Okay. And here's what we want to, how we want to use these. Okay. And we're not using these as direct exits. You can, if you're in a good trade and one of these stars pops, you can use these as a good entry or a good exit. Sorry, a good exit at the end of a trade. Like if you got into this buy, right, pushed all the way up here. I mean, we probably would have taken blue here, but came all the way back down. Push all the way back up. And what happens is with these red stars, we want to get ourselves in protected positions when we see these red or green stars because they indicate these big reversals. Okay. We don't want to be trying to hold a trade with a stop loss just here when we see one of these big red stars pop. That's when we want to get ourselves into a protected position. Okay. The green star will be on your sells, right? It will be on your downtrend, your downtrend trades, right? Because those are the green stars will indicate a reversal up and the red stars will indicate a reversal down, right? So these stars, as you can see, if you got into this sell, you saw this green star, you needed to be protected in this trade, right? Because this green star can indicate that it's just going to go and reverse what you did, would have hit your stop loss if you didn't get this trade into a protected position, right? Now, when we see these stars, we want to be in a protected position because we want to avoid these reversals to our stop losses. We'd rather take, 5, 10 pips than take a 25, 30, 40 pip loss, right? When it can be avoided with these stars. So when you see one of these stars, you want to put yourself in a protected position. And this is a prime example, right? This thing reverses back up here. If you took this sell, right, you would be, there was potential of almost 30, well, there was 30 pips on the board essentially, but you put yourself, bounced here, started to fall, right, broke through the support line. That's when you should have dropped this thing down, put yourself in a protected position. And this sell, you probably ended up as a break even, but you would have seen this star and you would have taken a break even instead of taking a loss on this turn, right? Or taking a few pips at least before this green star popped and the chart reversed. Okay. And that's how you use it to protect yourself. Now, secondary, which is happening right now with this red star, okay, is presenting what we call a star chaser. Okay. And it's happening right now as we watch, right? So what happened was this signal came, bounced back to these EMAs, engulfed right here and broke through and continued up, right? And is still heading up. But the first thing is that this red star, and the green stars, they repaint themselves. Okay, which means that every time this thing breaks another higher high or a lower low, it repaints itself, which means it moves over to that next higher high, right? Because the first time this thing broke through, you would have got a red star right here. Okay, this is the first place where your red star popped, right? You got into this thing, you pushed up here, right? There was 20, 30 pips on the board, pushed up here, you got yourself into a break even position, or, maybe this ran to you went to break even, and then your TP was here, right? This red star popped here. So what we would have done, right, when this red star pops, I say we got in, saw a red candle, so we would have waited to pull back. We probably would have got in here somewhere as it stayed above that. Okay, our TP would have been up here, but okay, so the first thing we would have done, right, as this red star popped here, we would have taken our stop. Okay, and we would have moved this thing up to break even. Right now, we're a risk-free trade. It got to 40 pips here, pretty good chance you could have just taken that. And if you would have just moved your stop to here and left that stop loss right there, this thing would have, it would have come back down and stressed you out. And you'd have been like, oh man, I'm going to end up taking 2 pips, and then ran immediately up to your TP. Okay, so what we're in right now is what we call star chaser. Okay, so you can see that risk reward on that trade. I'm just going to move it over, right? And what happened here is that this red star kept repainting, right? So you got the red star here. When this chart came up and broke it again, the red star joined on this candle, right? And it stayed here until this reversal came. This thing pushed all the way back up until it broke it again, and then it took that star here. Okay, right, and now you can see. Okay, now you can see that this star, it also repainted there, and then now it's up here, and every time it breaks another high, that star moves. So this is one of those trades that we want to give it some space and allow it to run, right? So we're in this thing, break even, comes up here, comes up, you can see it's running all the way back. It's got a pretty good chance of hitting our TP. We move that stop, right? We move that stop up to this resistance area, right? That's when we can take our, and then we see that it takes that star. That's when we can take our TP if it hasn't hit it already, and we could stretch it out. Right, this would have turned into a nice little 100 pip trade this morning. Right, we stretch it out. That star comes, it comes down, flashes, pushes back up, takes that star again. And for me, when I'm chasing a star, every time it breaks and takes that star again, I move my stop up. Stop would have came up to here, right? Flash back down, broke, took that star again. Now, it probably might have got me right there on that wick, but I would have protected in here over 50 pips, right? Broke up here, took that star again, right? Flash down, push back up, took that star. I would have moved it back up. I would have moved it into this support area. Broke up here, took that star again. I would have moved it up to this position and slowly trapped this trade as it wanted to go back up while still giving it enough space to have a pullback and continue on. Okay. And that's how we use our stars to our advantage. Blue stars are better at showing continuation patterns. Yes, they have more strength. They have more of an indication that there's possibility that it's going to push back up and head and continue to head in that direction. As you can see, it did, right? Star started, well, it started here, then broke to there, bounced back down. Then we had a star, 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 continuing to push up. Okay, and this thing would have came right up to a nice little 100 pip TP. Okay. Our stars are early indication of reversals, and the ones we really want to pay attention to are the red and the green. To protect ourselves from getting into and not protecting ourselves. If we don't protect ourselves in a trade and it reverses, it'll hit our stop. If we protect ourselves and we take 5 to 10 pips, it's much better than letting it go and hitting to our stop, especially when one of these stars comes and gives us an indication that reversal wants to come. Okay, so star reversal. Okay. Okay, questions? You would 100% wait for a pullback because the pullback's going to come. Right? 100% wait for a pullback. When I see this big red star, I would wait for this pullback to come back into this space, back into these EMAs before I would have decided to join this. Okay. The star will stay there once it reverses and starts to break in the other direction. Okay. So as you can see, this star stayed here because it broke lower lows and popped another green star. When that happens, that star will stay. Okay. It won't stay if you don't get another one of these green, if you don't get a green star in between. See, red, green, red, green, green, red, green, red. The star will stay right here if it goes and starts to create lower lows. So this red will stay here. If it gets back into a position where it breaks a lower low and that green star comes, that red star will stay. Then you'll look for that next time it breaks a bunch of these higher highs for that star to pop. That won't happen very often. No. You can go and take a look. Right, red, green, green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red. You won't see them stay. You can get 2 red stars in a row, but you won't see them stay. As you can see, when they get permanent, you can see them between. This one will stay where it is because what will happen if you don't get this green star, okay? Okay, if you don't get this green star and it comes and takes another, makes a higher high, this star will jump. So if this didn't come here and you didn't get this green star, say it bounced here, it started to head back up, this red star would have popped over to that next high. Something is wrong with your settings. And Abby. And that's very strange. You must have changed them somehow. So we'll have to take a look at that. Yeah, I would not enter in this pullback right now. No. I would like this pullback to come back into these EMAs. before I'd think about joining and heading back up again. Just not enough reward here, right? You got 419 back to the top here. You got 10 pips when you could click and end up coming into a reversal and taking a loss instead. Wait for that thing to come back down, give it enough space that if it does want to go back up, that I have the opportunity to enter it with some reward on the board. Okay. Yeah, because you're not being patient. And especially when you have these runs, you have to be patient. Okay. About 20 to 25 pips is better, Nando. 10 to 15, you probably should just take your blue, because it's probably gonna pretty good chance gonna hit your stop. Okay. And I am going to stop recording.